the so-called Justice for J6 rally. Do you know what Justice for J6 would be in my mind? And I realize what I'm about to say is very irrational, and it sounds fascistic even as I'm putting the sentence together. But I think justice for the J6 people would be a firing squad. I mean, I really do. I mean, once again, it just floors me that if that white mob of 10,000, if that white mob of 10,000 had been a black mob of 10,000 attacking the U.S. Capitol, oh, for Christ's sake, you know what would have happened, don't you? Absolutely. They would still be scrubbing the blood off the streets from the slaughter of the black folk who had attacked the U.S. Capitol. But what happens with the white people? Well, you saw what happened. I mean, I don't look. As you know, I am a predominantly white person myself, like most of my listeners are, I think. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea the racial makeup of the listeners of this podcast. But to my white brothers and sisters, you know that what I just said is true. You know it's true. You know it's true. If those would have been black people, you know it. Remember the Black Lives Matter march through D.C., walking past the Lincoln Memorial, for Christ's sake, and look what was on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Armed to the teeth, combat troops ready to just goddamn kill people left and right. So Justice for J6 rally that's to occur tomorrow in D.C., yeah, I believe in justice for J6, and I believe they ought to be shot. Dead. They attacked the country. This was a full frontal assault on the United States government. They wanted to hang people. They wanted to execute people. They carried with them weapons to do just that. And so many of the, 500 of them who've been charged with crimes are charged with shit like trespass or interfering in a public meeting. Oh, come on. Can you imagine the Negroes who would be dragged into court and charged with interfering with a public meeting if they would have attacked the Capitol of the United States and invaded the Senate chamber? Stop it. Don't even think about that bullshit, because that never would have happened. Oh, my God. So federal law enforcement officials now have come to the conclusion, according to the New York Times, that supporters of the filthy goddamn Nazi pig Donald Trump, who are flocking to Washington this weekend to rally for defendants charged in connection with the attempt to destroy the government of the United States, quote, may seek to engage in violence, end quote. That's what federal law enforcement have concluded. They may seek to engage in violence. Well, the D.C. police, or the Capitol Police, have asked for help from the National Guard, and I think this time it will come once they get rid of the fucking traitors within the National Guard, or within the Washington Police Department, or within the Capitol Police, the traitorous dogs, scum bastards who assisted these rioters, this mob. Okay, there weren't that many. But the ones that have been identified, if they were in the military, they should be goddamn court-martialed and thrown out, dishonorable discharge, get the fuck out of our sight. And if they were in law enforcement, they ought to be jailed. And if they were part of this mob that attacked the United States, they should be shot. Is that clear? Is that clear? Sound like Colonel Jessup, don't I? You can't handle the truth. Right. intelligence officers from the Department of Homeland Security wrote a report that was obtained by the New York Times, and one of the sentences in that report is thus, quote, "We are aware of a small number of recent online threats of violence referencing the planned rally, including online discussions encouraging violence the day before the rally." That would have been today. End quote. The officers of the Washington, D.C. Police Department and federal law enforcement officers, I guess that's one and the same, right? They're preparing for violence to erupt with what's being called, quote, "little to no warning," end quote, although authorities have not identified any, quote, "specific or credible plot associated with the event," end quote. That's according to this document dated September 16th that was written by federal law enforcement officials and put out amongst those who need to know, whose job it is to defend the capital of the United States. But even so, according to the New York Times, the report points to concerning chatter on social media. These scum son of a bitches, these Trump cultists, these Christian fascists who are blowing their noses on social media about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And the report notes that intelligence officials have found that some people are discussing storming the Capitol the night before Saturday's rally, which would be probably just about the time you're hearing this podcast. Well, let's all open our windows and see if we hear gunfire coming from D.C. And if we do, let's celebrate. Because it will be gunfire directed at these goddamn destroyers of democracy, these people who believe in Christian fascism. No mercy. As Peter O'Toole shouted as the character Lawrence of Arabia in the movie, "No prisoners! No prisoners!" He really had a crazed look on his face, didn't he? He's referring to the Turks. No prisoners. Hoo-hoo-hoo. The report goes on to say, quote, "There's one comment on kidnapping an identified member of Congress." End quote. Others on the internet have also mentioned targeting elected officials, Jewish institutions, and, quote, liberal churches, end quote. You see? You see what I mean? So please don't get your bloomers in a wad when I talk about Christian fascists. That's what these people are. Christian fascists. I just Willie Nelson's song would come true. Come on back, Jesus, and pick up John Wayne on the way. The reference being, come back and just beat the fuck out of these people. Man, justice for J6. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that collection of miscreants, traitors, thugs, white trash, scum, Klansmen is being organized by Matt Braynard, who's a former Trump campaign operative. One of the few who hasn't been charged with child rape or sex trafficking of children. Have you noticed that? How many people who worked on Trump's election campaign and re-election campaign were goddamn child molesting scum? Child porn? Of course they are. These are the, what do they call them? Incels, involuntary celibate, because women won't have anything to do with these fucks? Yeah. Anyway, Matt Braynard, and he has an organization called, are you ready? Look Ahead America. Look Ahead America. Oh my God. The Look Ahead America and Matt Braynard have together demanded that the Justice Department drop charges against all those who have been charged, because this group of half-asses, Look Ahead America, says that the people arrested were involved in, quote, nonviolent protests, end quote. Oh, my God. Nonviolent protests. Yeah, what I saw with all that video and all the subsequent video that has been gathered in and put together and shows just how violent and insane these son of a bitches were and murderous did not lead me to think that they were nonviolent. And this half-ass Matt Brainerd and his brown shirts have secured a permit for 700 attendees at the rally. That's according to this intelligence document. 700, huh? Right. And I'm sure you've seen the video of the security perimeter being installed once again around the Capitol building, including the high fence. A fence around the Capitol building to protect the Capitol buildings against Americans? These are not Americans. These scum son of a bitches. Every single one of them is some kind of an alien operative. And by alien, I don't mean some other country. I mean some other fucking planet. So the rally, the intent here, as the Times points out, the intent is the latest effort to rewrite the history of that mob attack on the Capitol, which was designed, organized by Trump to try to stop the formal acknowledgement of Biden's victory in the 2020 election. And the prosecutors who are handling all this say that the mob and those arrested was because of as many as 1,000 assaults against police officers. Then why are these people, these scum son of a bitches, being charged with interrupting a public meeting or trespassing on government property? Why not charge them with insurrection, treason? Why not put them on trial immediately in front of military tribunals? And if they're found guilty, shoot the fuckers. I mean it. I mean that. And I apologize for meaning it because I know a lot of people listening to this program will be shocked. What the fuck are you saying, Malloy? Listen, no mercy for these scum. No mercy, because they are not interested in the least in preserving democracy. If they have a complaint about the filthy scum that was their president, then there are ways to address the complaint short of attacking the seat of government, threatening to kill the vice president, to hang him, threatening to kill the Speaker of the House. And I am supposed to sit here and say, well, they should be brought to justice. Well, okay, I'll say that. And to me, bringing these scum to justice is a military tribunal. I mean, look at the people we snatched in Afghanistan. Fucking goat herders and cab drivers and vegetable stall operators, and took them to Guantanamo and tortured the shit out of them because we thought they might be terrorists. And here we have in front of us a whole goddamn video recorded mob of terrorists, and we're going to charge them with trespass? We go into a foreign country and snatch people and bring them to another country that's not ours and torture them? And we don't have the presence, the strength to say, all right, we're going to take our own citizens who did this and we're going to put them on trial in front of a similar military tribunal. And if found guilty, shoot the fuckers or lock them up for the rest of their lives at Leavenworth or someplace. I am absolutely clear in my own mind and heart about my attitude, my feeling about these sons of bitches. They offer no quarter. They are arrogant, pissant white people who deserve, if they are found guilty, deserve the full weight of the law to hit them like a goddamn slug from an M50. You have a better idea?
Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.